How can I pay child support? How? If my ex-wife is destroying my name and I can't work.
I don't want my mom out on tour, on a tour bus, wondering where she's at. That's my mom. I truly love her.
There's a brutal truth in the music world that few dare to stare down. The brighter the stage lights burn, the deeper the shadows swallow the wings. Behind those honeyed love ballads, those voices that hush the whole planet into rapture, sometimes lurk shattered homes, wounds that never scab over. Many of the R&B legends you once worshipped, crooners of love, forgiveness, the quiet hearth, turned out to be the very architects of family wreckage and heartbreak. Some disowned their own blood, then cradled regret until the grave. Some were publicly accused by their kids, toppled on live television. Some lost everything the instant the truth clawed its way into daylight. The 21 stories I'm about to unfold are exactly those seismic secrets, where kinship is betrayed, where fame and fortune can't plaster over the ache, and where the hidden halves of R&B icons, the ones they tried to bury from the world, finally surface. 21. Ray Charles. The king of soul and his empire of 12 kids from 10 women. Ray Charles, immortal totem of soul and R&B, the man the planet revered for a voice that could freeze time itself. He hoarded Grammys like loose change, hoisted soul music to its glittering summit. Yet behind that corona of glory, Ray's private life played out like a discordant symphony. Love, money, and family secrets slamming into one another with brutal force. In 1955, Ray wed Della B. Howard, a gentlewoman who believed she'd snagged a romantic musical genius. They had 3 boys. But from that moment, Ray veered into uncharted chaos. He lived like a man with no breaks. Every tour stop a new lover, every city a fresh child bearing the Charles name. In 1959, singer Margie Hendricks, his Raylette duet partner, delivered him a son, Charles Wayne. 2 years later, Mae Mosley Lyles gave him Rainee. Then, one by one, names surfaced like ghosts. Sandra Jean Betts, Mary Chantal Bertrand, Marianne Denbach, Arlette Kochunian, each woman a jagged shard in the mosaic of Ray's life, tangled, lead-heavy, and cloaked in secrecy. By 1987, the 12th child arrived, from a woman Ray never named publicly. That same year, he set up the Ray Charles Children Trust, a private fund for his offspring, $500,000 apiece after he was gone, but only if they signed a gag order. No leaks, no questions. Everything seemed sealed tight until 2002, when a frail Ray summoned all 12 to his Beverly Hills mansion. He handed out envelopes of cash, voice flat as winter steel. Don't fight over the estate, and caught the resentful glint in many eyes. After he died in 2004, the real storm broke. 12 kids, 10 mothers, 15 years of lawsuits fueled by suspicion that Dad had hidden the true will. Blood ties curdled into a battlefield. In 2017, daughter Sheila succumbed to cancer, still waiting for her slice of inheritance. And then, amid the rubble, Ray's children let go. Exhausted, they founded Ray, Charles Legacy, a free music program for blind kids. They said, "Our father was blind, but he saw our future." Maybe Ray truly did glimpse it all, including this family tragedy. 20. Sam Cooke, A Change Is Gonna Come, and 4 bastard children buried in silence. Sam Cooke, crowned Father of Soul, the voice that ushered in America's golden age of song. He owned a parade of timeless hits, stood as a civil rights beacon, penned A Change Is Gonna Come, the anthem that left an entire nation breathless. But offstage, Sam's life was a tangle of fame, betrayal, and children left to rot in oblivion. In 1959, Sam married Barbara Campbell, widow of his best friend. The lavish wedding looked like bliss, but it ignited a chain of disasters. A year earlier, Sam had fathered a son with Connie Bowling, who sued him for $10 grand a month in child support. He paid quietly, monthly, just to preserve the perfect gentleman facade for the public. In 1960, a Los Angeles woman birthed Carla, a girl raised in darkness, unrecognized. By 1963, Mary Florence delivered Michael Dion. And a year later, a Las Vegas dancer bore LaRonda, Sam's final child, born at the zenith of his fame. All four grew up clutching the same secret. Their father was a legend who never once uttered the word son or daughter to them. Sam wired money in the shadows, swore silence, terrified the press would torch the image he'd spent decades polishing. Then, December 1964, fate slammed the door on his life and flung open pandemonium. Sam was shot dead in a Los Angeles motel, a murky killing that stunned America. 3 months later, Barbara remarried Bobby Womack, Sam's closest friend. She even handed over Sam's belongings to her new lover, exposing a household rotten with infidelity on both sides. Years drifted by, troubles seemingly buried, until 2007, when DNA tests confirmed the 4 bastard children, sending shockwaves worldwide. Barbara, old business partners, and the secret heirs plunged into years of legal trench warfare over royalties and assets. People say a change is gonna come. Sam's immortal track was his message to the kids he never claimed. A song of faith, but also a confession from a man who hunted redemption in music only to lose the family he already had. 19. Little Richard, Tutti Frutti, and a daughter, hidden for 61 years. Little Richard, rock and roll colossus, dubbed architect of modern rock. He detonated American stages with Tutti Frutti, Long Tall Sally, and a performance style no one could copy. The entire industry knew Elvis, the Beatles' Prince, all drank from his well. But for over half a century, Richard carried a secret too heavy to voice, a daughter he never dared acknowledge. In 1959, at the white-hot peak of his career, Richard tumbled into a fling with a stripper named Creola. Amid the whirlwind of fame and all-night shows, Creola got pregnant and gave birth to a girl. No one in showbiz caught wind. Richard never went public. He mailed Creola $500 a month, a silent penance, never asking after the child, never meeting her. The little girl grew up hollow, knowing exactly who her father was, but forbidden to speak his name. Richard, after years drowning in fame's temptations and addiction, renounced rock, came out as gay, and turned preacher. He claimed he was atoning by serving the Lord, but deep down, the ghost of that daughter never stopped haunting him. He feared the public glare, terrified the truth would shatter the saintly image he'd spent 4 decades building. In 2017, health failing, Richard finally agreed to meet his daughter, 61 years late. The reunion was a gut punch of tears and bitterness. The woman wept, saying all she'd ever wanted was to hear him call her daughter. Between them stretched only distance and an unbridgeable silence. 3 years later, in 2020, little Richard died alone. Her name never appeared in his will. After the funeral, she did what her father never dared. She founded LGBTQ Black Voices, a fund for Black LGBTQ youth. She said, "My father was afraid, but I'm proud." That line sent chills through anyone who heard it, because the very thing little Richard felt as sin his whole life became the light his daughter chose to shine. 18. James Brown, godfather of soul, and 13 kids, battling over $100 million estate. James Brown, legend tagged Godfather of Soul, the man who rewrote American music with explosive rhythms and a voice that could melt steel. He ruled the charts, stacked awards, became an icon for Black pride. But behind the blaze of spotlights lay a family in total disarray, a war zone where 13 children fought tooth and nail for the spoils. It started in 1952 when James married Velma Warren, first wife, mother of Teddy Brown. Tragedy struck early. Teddy died in a 1973 plane crash, carving the first fracture. After that, James loved widely, married often, left a trail of overlapping liaisons. In 1962, a mystery woman secretly bore LaRhonda Pettit, a child he never claimed. 6 years later, Mary Florence had Michael Dion. By 2001, dancer Tommy Ray Heine delivered James II, the youngest, seen as the last legitimate heir. James once said he didn't want his kids wrecking his legacy. Maybe that's why, in a jaw-dropping 2000 will, he left his entire $100 million fortune to poor kids in South Carolina instead of his 13 offspring. When he died in 2006, the lid blew off every buried secret. Starting in 2007, 9 acknowledged children plus Tommy Ray plunged into a 15-year legal brawl that burned through more than $10 million in attorney fees. The family splintered. Accusations, suspicions, the Godfather's name plastered across tabloids for years. In 2021, after nearly 2 decades, the case limped to a close. James Brown's catalog sold for $90 million. Half the proceeds funded the I Feel Good Scholarship, over $2 million annually to needy students, fulfilling the wish scrawled in his will. You'd think the kids would cash in big, but irony bit hard. Not one got truly rich off Dad's estate. All that remained was the label, Child of James Brown, attached to a war measured in cold legal pages and colder numbers, where love was buried alive. 17. Etta James, At Last, and 2 sons from 2, gangland kingpins, Etta James, soul music titan, the voice that made the world swoon with At Last. She erupted across the 1960s, snagged multiple Grammys, earned a throne in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But beyond the glamour, Etta's life was a decades-long spiral of chaos, addiction, prison, and family secrets piled like wreckage. Etta started shooting heroin at 17, a habit that dragged her through darkness for years. In 1966, she was busted for drugs and jailed until 1968. During that stretch, she got pregnant by her manager, a man who was really a lieutenant in a notorious mob crew. The boy arrived in 1968, named Donto. Etta never named the father publicly, just raised the kid through lean, unstable years. By 1976, Etta bore another son, Sameto, fathered by a different underworld player tangled in LA's shadows. The 2 boys grew up amid their mother's binges, rehabs, relapses. The only steady man in Etta's life was husband Artis Mills, loyal enough to serve 10 years in prison in her place. Here was a woman who commanded stages and fame, yet offstage lived in a storm, unsure who had truly sired her sons. When pressed, Etta once spat that she couldn't even remember their fathers' names. At 70, Alzheimer's began erasing her. Sons Donto and Sameto stepped up to fight for guardianship, but really to sue Artis Mills and seize control of her money. The battle dragged to 2010, when they finally won legal power and slapped Artis with a $1 million claim for allegedly looting Etta's funds. 2 years later, in 2012, Etta James died, leaving an immortal trove of music. You'd expect another inheritance war post-funeral, but no. The brothers joined forces and launched the Etta James Foundation, free rehab for Black women battling addiction. They said it was the only way to redeem what their mother had lost. A woman who drowned in passion and sin finally had her sons extend her legacy through mercy and grit, qualities Etta James spent a lifetime chasing but never quite grasped. 16. Marvin Gaye. Prince of Soul and the child born from his 16-year-old niece Marvin Gaye, dubbed the Prince of Soul in American music, an icon of soul and R&B with a seductive voice and timeless tracks like Let's Get It On, What's Going On, or Sexual Healing. He was Motown's pride, a star who bewitched the world, but behind the stage lights, his life drowned in shadows. In 1963, Marvin married Anna Gordy, sister of the Motown boss, 17 years his senior. They were music's power couple, but beneath the camera smiles lay quiet loneliness and silent fractures. Anna couldn't bear children. And then in 1965, Marvin plunged into a forbidden affair with Denise Gordy, Anna's niece, just 15. On November 17, 1965, Denise gave birth to a son, Marvin Gaye III. To mask the truth, Anna faked a pregnancy for 9 months, adopting the baby as her own. The world bought it as Anna's flesh and blood. Only Marvin, Anna, and Denise knew the dark secret. A 3-layered family secret was built, where love, sin, and honor bled together in silence. Marvin once told Kin, "This is the only way to hold the family together." But in truth, that secret choked all 3 souls for years. When it grew unbearable in 1977, Anna filed for divorce, suing Marvin for $1 million. Bitter, he crafted the album Hear My Dear as payment to his ex-wife. Every melody was a confession, a howl of torment from a ravaged spirit. Then tragedy peaked on April 1, 1984, when Marvin was shot dead by his own father in the house where he'd crooned his most aching love songs. Marvin Gaye III, the child of that mistake, later inherited a chunk of the estate and founded a fund against underage abuse. He once said, "My father was wrong, but his love lingers on." 15. Aretha Franklin. Queen of Soul. Pregnant for the first time at 12. Aretha Franklin. Queen of Soul, the legendary voice that hushed the world with respect, natural woman. Think, an irreplaceable icon of American music. She snagged 18 Grammys, earned the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and became the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But behind all that radiance lay a shadowed childhood, a secret she almost never uttered. Aretha was born and raised in Detroit's New Bethel Baptist Church, where her father, Reverend C.L. Franklin, wielded power laced with scandal. He hosted all-night gospel parties where music, booze, and lust swirled in the same haze. In that very haze, 12-year-old Aretha endured her first shock, pregnant with her firstborn, Clarence. The father was Edward Jordan Sr., 24, a trusted figure in her dad's congregation. 2 years later, in 1957, at just 14, Aretha birthed her second, Edward Jr., with the same man. The family buried it all. Grandma Rachel stepped up to raise the boys, teaching them to call Aretha sister. Meanwhile, Aretha was shipped off for vocal training, crafting her image as soul's angel, a stark flip from the bitter truth she carried inside. As fame swelled, the secret sank deeper, but it never vanished. Kin whispered that Aretha forever bore the haunt of guilt and fear, an unhealing scar. Her later life stayed stormy. Eldest son Clarence was diagnosed schizophrenic, confined to nursing homes for years. In 2019, after Aretha's death, her 4 sons dove into battles over 3 handwritten wills, estate worth $80 million, scribbled pages tucked in notebooks, stashed in sofas, fueled a fierce family war. Before passing, Aretha set up $1 million fund for abused black kids with a blunt note. "I was a victim once, and I don't want any child to suffer like me." A raw, bare statement, packed with the agony of her journey, from a 12-year-old robbed of innocence to the mighty woman crowned Queen of Soul, adored by the world. 14. Ike Turner, father of rock and roll, and 14 kids from 14 women. Ike Turner, called the father of rock and roll, kicked off a new music era with Rocket 88 in 1951. Then, with Tina Turner, forged the Ike and Tina Turner Revue, exploding stages across America. But behind the glittering lights, beyond performances that whipped crowds into frenzy, lay a true hell, where cocaine, violence, and cruelty ruled every dawn. Ike married Tina in 1962, and for 14 years, her life mirrored captivity. He fathered 14 kids with 14 different women. Only 4 got official nods. Ike Jr., Michael with Lorraine Taylor, Ronnie with Tina, and Craig, Tina's pre-marriage son. The rest were 10 scattered bastards, born hither and yon. In 1960 alone, 3 popped out in 1 month across 3 cities, proof of his wild, chaotic rampage. Behind the mansion's grand doors, Tina endured merciless beatings. Once, Ike wielded a coat hanger, cracking her ribs. Ike Jr., just a boy then, saw it all, recalling how Dad forced Mom to kneel and beg forgiveness before the kids. While the world hailed them as music's golden duo, labels and papers were paid to hush. Ike denied every charge, claiming Tina exaggerated for fame. In 1976, Tina fled with 36 cents in her pocket, rebuilding from scratch. 2 years later, divorce sealed it. Ike went bankrupt, drowning in alimony debt. Still, he dove deeper into coke, the poison that stripped him bare, soul included. In 2007, Ike died from overdose. Not one child showed at the funeral. By 2025, his son, Ike Turner Jr., succumbed to cancer at 67. Before dying, he revealed Tina had cut ties with the kids since 2000, severing all contact, closing the tragic chapter of a family once deemed music legend. Today, the Ike Jr. Band tours dive bars, replaying Dad's old tunes, not in tribute, it seems, but to settle debts with an unforgiven past. 13. Otis Redding, king of soul, and 2 bastard kids from a 15-year-old maid. Otis Redding, king of soul, a towering icon of American soul. With a deep, warm, powerhouse voice, he breathed life into eternal love songs like Try a Little Tenderness or Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay. In mere short years, Otis became an unshakable monument in music, but behind the glamour lurked a dark secret, buried for over half a century. In 1961, Otis wed Zelma, the woman who stood by him through George's lean days. They had 3 kids, Dexter, Carla, and Otis III. America eyed Otis as the model man, successful, ideal husband, doting father. But reality twisted otherwise. In 1962, on tour, Otis entangled with a 15-year-old hotel maid in Macon. She got pregnant, birthed a boy, Dexter. To cloak it, Zelma adopted the child, claiming him as her husband's. 3 years on, in 1965, Otis hooked up with a Memphis dancer. Result? A girl, Demetria. When Otis died, she was just 2. The Redding family adopted her too. Both kids grew up as legitimate heirs, clueless to their true roots. Meanwhile, Stax Records polished Otis's image as America's perfect husband. On December 10, 1967, disaster struck. The plane carrying Otis and his band plunged into Lake Monona, Wisconsin. He vanished at 26, secrets intact. Years later, in 2018, DNA confirmed Dexter wasn't Zelma's blood. The half-century secret burst into light. Still, Zelma stayed mum, as if nothing happened. In 2023, Otis III died at 59, while Dexter, the illegitimate son, launched a fried chicken chain called Big O, inspired by the father he never got public claim to. Folks still say Otis sang for millions, but never crooned for his own hidden blood, lives forgotten amid applause and blazing lights. 12. Wilson Pickett, Wicked Pickett and the Family Tragedy. Behind closed doors, Wilson Pickett, the explosive voice of American soul, once brought the world to its knees with In the Midnight Hour and Mustang Sally. Dubbed Wicked Pickett, the wild one on stage, igniting crowds with scorching vocals and fierce style. But behind the radiant stage glow, his private life unfolded as a chain of gloomy, suffocating days, haunted to his very end. Born and raised in Alabama, Wilson endured a childhood under his strict mother's lashings. The broom became a familiar weapon, and it seemed he carried that terror lifelong, unwittingly channeling it into rage dumped on his own kids. Michael, Linderick, Veda, and Safan, Wilson's 4 children, grew up in a house where screams and belt cracks echoed like a grim soundtrack to existence. Veda later recounted how Dad branded them worthless. What seemed a fleeting fury became a lifelong psychic wound. In 1993, the secrets shattered when Wilson was convicted of abuse and jailed for 2 years. The world reeled, the artist who sang of love and freedom now chained by his own deeds. Though Atlantic Records shielded his image, insisting Wicked was just a stage name, truth couldn't hide. Post-prison, he lived quietly, trying to mend, but the kids wanted no return. In 2006, Wilson died, leaving an estimated $2 million estate and a brutal legal feud among the scarred offspring. Amid the clashes, Veda founded the Picket Peace Scholarship Fund, saying, "My father was a victim, then became the perpetrator." Those words twisted like a blade into the memory of a man caught between glory and sin. Now, whenever In the Midnight Hour echoes in his old prison where he was once locked, folks don't just hear a legend's music, but the reverberations of a lost soul yearning for forgiveness. 11. Gladys Knight, Empress of Soul and the Kidnapped Son. Gladys Knight, the voice-crowned Empress of Soul, who once whipped the world into a frenzy with hits like Midnight Train to Georgia and Neither One of Us. She stands as an icon of raw power and raw emotion, channeling the heart of American music straight into the souls of millions. But behind that radiant glow, Gladys's life harbors a tragedy that stretched across half a century. The tale of a son snatched away, who grew up to deliver her another crushing blow. In 1974, Gladys married Barry Hankerson, a man who seemed calm, clever, and utterly captivating. 2 years later, they welcomed a son, Shanga. It looked like this little family would be her anchor after those exhausting tours, but soon enough, the marriage twisted into a nightmare. In 1979, Hankerson vanished without a trace, taking their 3-year-old boy with him. He whisked Shanga off to Libya and demanded $1 million from Gladys to get him back. The ordeal shattered her, but to shield her fame and career, she quietly paid through a Swiss lawyer, burying the whole mess for 50 years. To the public, she just said her son was traveling with his dad. But the truth? She lived haunted, gripped by silent dread for her child, unable to cry out. When Shanga returned, the boy was transformed. The pressure, the psychic scars, drove him to binge eat. By 11, he tipped the scales at 320 pounds. Gladys tried to reclaim their bond with fierce love, staying close through the years, but the gulf between them never truly closed. In 2016, when Shanga launched the Gladys Knight's Chicken and Waffles chain, it seemed like life might finally brighten, until it veered off course again. Shanga got slapped with charges of theft and tax fraud totaling $1 million. No one saw it coming. Gladys stepped up to sue her own son, all to uphold justice and her good name. In a rare interview, she once said, "I lost my son twice, first to kidnapping, then to money." Those words don't just hold a mother's anguish. They're the weary sigh of a legend who's weathered too many heartbreaks. Today, when Gladys's soul tunes play, what echoes isn't just her honeyed voice, but the cracked whisper of a woman who traded everything for stardom and lost the deepest family tie of her life. 10. Patti LaBelle, godmother of soul, and 5 kids, not bound by blood. Patti LaBelle is an American soul icon. Folks call her the godmother of soul. For over 6 decades, she's left audiences spellbound with If Only You Knew or Lady Marmalade. She never bore a child of her own. Terrified of the hereditary cancer that claimed her sister, Patti chose another path, pouring love into kids not tied by blood. In 1989, when Sister Jackie died, she took in 2 nieces, William and Stace, raising them as her own. Bit by bit, her kids grew to 5, and Patti always claimed, "I'm mom to 5." But this seemingly serene family shook when William, known as Bill Holty, used a fake account Dan Purdy to back Trump, sparking uproar in 2020. Patti LaBelle's name got dragged into the storm of backlash. She had to speak out, admitting William was adopted, swearing she still loved him, but couldn't back his choices. Amid the noise, Patty quietly cooked over 1,000 Thanksgiving meals for orphans each year. She once said, "I know what it's like to have no mother." And maybe that's what keeps the godmother of soul's heart forever warm, no matter how cold the world outside turns. 9. Chaka Khan, Queen of Funk and the battle for her grandchild. After her son's murder charge, Chaka Khan, the legend dubbed Queen of Funk, the woman who rocked the world with "I'm Every Woman and Ain't Nobody." Her voice roars fierce, her pull explodes like wildfire, but her private life unfolds as a string of tragedies no stage curtain could ever hide. In 2006, the nightmare kicked off. Her son, Damien, at a party, accidentally shot a friend and got slapped with manslaughter. Chaka nearly crumpled. All she could do was raise his kid for him, but behind that choice lurked a brutal fight for custody of little Dijah Jade, the 10-year-old granddaughter, born to Damien and a drug-addled woman. In 2011, Chaka won full guardianship. She juggled tours with being dad, mom, grandma, all rolled into one. For 7 years, while Damien rotted in prison, Dijah blossomed in her unbreakable grandma's arms. By 2024, that girl graduated Juilliard, the world's elite school, and called Chaka Mom. And Chaka? She uttered a line that choked up everyone who heard. "Family's a circle. I'm Grandma, Mom, and even Dad." Her life swims in spotlight glory, but more vital, behind it beats the heart of a woman who wrestled fate to cling to what's sacred. Kinship. 8. Stevie Wonder, Little Stevie and the tragedy of a mother, forced into prostitution. Stevie Wonder, musical genius, a global legend stacked with dozens of Grammys and a voice that reshaped soul's history. But behind the blazing stage lights lies a family story that chills anyone who hears it. Stevie was born blind. His mom, Lula Mae, raised 6 kids in grinding poverty, forced by her own husband to sell her body just to buy milk for them. In her memoir, Blind Faith, she spilled that past, jolting all of America. Stevie's adult life fared no better. He shelled out $30 million to settle lawsuits, desperate to preserve the musical angel image the public idolized. But underneath, a chaotic clan, 9 kids from 5 mothers, including Aisha, whom Stevie called the light of my life, and twins, Zaya and Naya, with third wife Tomika in 2017. In 2013, 3 mothers filed a joint suit, blasting Stevie as deadbeat. That case laid bare a bitter truth. The musical prodigy could craft immortal love songs, but sometimes couldn't hold together a simple, peaceful home. 7. Lionel Richie, the adoptive dad. Amid a $30 million lawsuit and a family's denied bonds, Lionel Richie, American music legend, master of the Grammy-winning hit, Hello, the golden face of the 1980s with a romantic voice that enchanted millions. Yet his family tale tangled into knots, all from an act of kindness. In 1983, Lionel adopted Nicole, daughter of close friend Brenda Harvey, and publicly doted on her as his darling girl. But 20 years later, in 2003, Brenda blindsided him with a lawsuit, accusing him of stealing her child and demanding $30 million plus half the royalties from Lady. Nicole, by then a star herself, switched to Nicole Richie and cut off her birth mom for 2 decades. Nicole stuck with Lionel, but after everything, the void of real parental blood remained an unhealed gash. By 2010, Nicole built her own family, bore 2 kids, while Brenda died of cancer in 2023, her funeral empty of any daughter's shadow. Lionel once confessed, "I'm her legal dad, but I could never replace her real mom," a poignant line that sealed a 40-year tragedy. 6. R. Kelly. The shocking sham, marriage to a 15-year-old bride, and a secret buried for 3 decades, R. Kelly. The singer and songwriter once crowned King of R&B, the force behind the legendary hit I Believe I Can Fly, who stood as a musical icon for an entire generation. In 1992, as a mere music mentor to 12-year-old Aaliyah, Kelly propelled her debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. Just 2 years later, on August 27, 1994, they secretly wed at Chicago's Sheraton Hotel. The marriage certificate listed Aaliyah as 18, though she'd turned 15 just 4 days prior. When her parents uncovered the truth, they forced Kelly to annul it in February 1995, sealing a hush agreement worth $200,000. Jive Records shelled out another $500,000 to snuff out the news. It all seemed entombed until 2001, when Aaliyah perished in a plane crash, and 2 decades on, in 2025, her family unleashed the real evidence in the documentary Surviving R. Kelly, Part 3. Now, behind bars for a 31-year stretch, R. Kelly hasn't just lost his freedom. He carries the dark shadow of a sinful union that ravaged 2 lives. 5. Mary J. Blige, queen of hip-hop soul, and the $30,000 monthly alimony for her ex's kids. Mary J. Blige, R&B icon, the voice behind hits like Be Without You or No More Drama, hailed as the queen of hip-hop soul. In 2003, Mary wed Kendu Isaacs, the man she believed was her serene harbor. She adopted his 3 kids, Brianna, Jordan, and Nas, and cherished them as her own flesh and blood. But by 2016, the family. Peace shattered when the press exposed Kendu's affair with singer Starshell, Mary's own assistant and protege. The scandal barely cooled before Brianna, Kendu's eldest daughter, slapped Mary with a lawsuit for abandonment, demanding $30,000 a month until 2030. Mary wired the cash in quiet regularity, uttering just one bitter line: "I'm still the stepmom." In 2018, the divorce wrapped, costing her $100 million and leaving her deeply scarred. Yet, in cruel irony, Brianna switched her name to Brianna Isaacs Blige, as if clinging to a sliver of the glow from the woman she'd dragged to court. Mary's life, though she sang No More Drama, still can't escape the tempests stamped with family's name. 4. Usher. Confessions and the custody battle. After a near-drowning Usher, the R&B supernova who whipped the world into frenzy with the hit Confessions stands as an emblem of seduction and unmatched talent in American music. In 2007, Usher married Tamika Foster, a stylist older than him. They had 2 sons, Usher V and Naveed. It looked like a perfect nest, but by 2012, word broke that Usher was sued for passing herpes to a stylist, crumbling his repute. The tragedy crested on August 5, 2013, when 5-year-old Usher V nearly drowned in the home pool. Showbiz reeled. Tamika immediately sued, claiming Usher's recklessness had shoved their boy into peril. She clawed for custody, hauling him to court amid his deepest crisis. In 2019, the judge ruled for Usher. Tamika got weekends only. By 2024, Usher V, now 16, publicly declared he doesn't blame dad, but still misses mom bad. The words ignited social media. Usher chose silence, revealing only that Confessions Part 3 remains unreleased, because too many truths still lack the guts to surface. 3. Alicia Keys. If I Ain't Got You and the son who isn't her husband's Alicia Keys, the queen of R&B with 15 Grammys under her belt, embodies rare sweetness and talent in the global music scene. She shines not just with her soulful voice, but draws envy for her marriage to powerhouse producer Swizz Beatz, seemingly a flawless romance between artistic souls. In 2010, Alicia and Swizz tied the knot, swiftly welcoming 2 sons, Egypt and Genesis. But in 2015, rumors erupted. Egypt wasn't Swizz's blood, but the fruit of Alicia's fling with producer Carey Brothers, her collaborator from the Songs in a Minor days. Social media exploded, every eye fixed on this supposedly blissful clan. Swizz Beatz posted DNA pics on Instagram, swearing a 99.99% match as father. Yet oddly, to quash the tide, Alicia forked over $10 million for Carey to sign a gag order, an unnecessary move. Though plain to see, Egypt grows more like Swiss's mirror image daily, but the trust's fracture lingers. Facing the storm, Alicia offered a line that hushed them all. Love is our real DNA. 2. Toni Braxton. Unbreak My Heart and The Autistic Son. Once deemed a curse by his mother Toni Braxton, the voice that left the world choking back tears with Unbreak My Heart stands as an icon of pain, resilience, and unseen wounds. She snagged 7 Grammys, sold tens of millions of albums, but behind the stage glare lurked a mother who crumbled, convinced she'd been punished. In 2001, at her peak, Toni aborted due to fears of her hereditary heart disease. 2 years later, she mustered the courage for Diesel, only for him to be diagnosed with severe autism. The blow flattened her. She confessed believing God cursed her for that past mistake. She dove into work, liquidated assets to fund over $2 million in specialized therapies, hiding his condition from the media siege. For years, Toni all but vanished from music, living solely for Diesel. Then, in 2016, a miracle. Diesel shed the autism spectrum, learned to speak, to play piano like Mom. In 2025, he graduated high school, striding on stage to declare, "Mom's my superhero." From there, Toni founded the Autism Speaks, Braxton Family Fund, sealing those dark days with a saga of sheer grit, where love truly conquered every terror. 1. Brian McKnight, from Back at One legend to the father the world turned its back. On Brian McKnight, the golden voice of the 90s who melted millions with the hit Back at One. He's the singer-songwriter genius with Grammy nods galore who once perched atop glory's peak, drawing universal envy. In 2022, Brian wed Leilani and welcomed his 7th son. It seemed he'd snagged final bliss, but on February 14, 2024, it all crumbled. On livestream, Brian declared, "I no longer have those 4 older kids with ex-wife Julie. They're products of sin." He bluntly branded daughter Brianna evil, son Nico a failure. The words spread like wildfire, shredding his once model dad image, all from clashes with the kid's mom. Heart-wrenching still. In 2025, when Nico died of cancer, Brian skipped the funeral. Brian Jr. ditched the surname, switching to McKnight-free, severing the last tie. The other 4 sued together for $12 million in royalties, while Spotify yanked 3 of his old albums. Now, the man who once won the world's love gets named as family betrayal's poster child. Behind the glamour, everyone harbors a shadowed corner they dread being touched. These R&B legends once bewitched the world on stage, but when the lights dim, what lingers are family fissures and heartaches that won't fade. Each tale whispers a reminder. Fame can't mend wounds, and sometimes those we cherish most are the ones who bring us to our knees. What do you make of these secrets? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, 'cause every perspective deserves an ear. And don't forget to hit subscribe, ring that bell so you won't miss more jaw-dropping stories from the music world that folks rarely dare to whisper.